Good morning, everyone. This is Ariana Dawson with DC3 Broadcasting, talking to Tim Romanello, who's the women's soccer and men's coach for Dodge. How are you this morning?
I'm good.
All right, so first we're going to talk about the boys this week. So last Friday night, the boys versus Kansas City College, and so they started off with a 2-0 win, or 2-0. Win from Duran Lee, one with penalty and one with a set play from 24 yards out. All in the first 35 minutes. Was this like?
It's a great start. We were in a must-win position versus Kansas City, and we got off to a really good start. And it's really the same page in the same chapter of the same book that we've been doing all season. We are really good. We are. Anybody that wants to think that we aren't, they're not watching the same brand. So the poor thing about that is we're not getting results and we're struggling to score goals. So when you play the first 26 minutes, the first half hour, and you're up 2-0 and you convert from the penalty spot, which a lot of the times when you're awarded a penalty, when you're struggling, that's kind of the luck changing. So we converted there, and then 10 minutes later, 6 minutes later, whatever it was, we convert just outside the 18-yard box on a restart with a really beautiful goal, and we're up 2-0 and we're cruising along. Yeah.
So then KCK came back with 2 goals, and then it went to halftime. What did you say to the boys then?
Our problem is we've been fighting with the emotional side of our men's team. The emotional side being we worry about the things that we can't control versus the things that we can control. The problem is when you worry about things that you can't control, regardless of how many times that you say it, if it's a repetitive process, not from me saying it, but things that happen to us over and over and over and over again that you can't explain, the emotions are going to spew over, and that's exactly what had happened. We tend to take it out on ourselves, we take it out on our teammates, on the coaching staff, things like that, where yes, we can't control it, but it's happened so frequently that when something doesn't go your way, the emotions spew and it just kind of spirals out of control. And they're not even bad goals that we give up. It's just simple mistakes. Freshman Mustafa handles the ball at midfield. They get a free kick from midfield. Something quite harmless. It happens all over the place, whether it's a handball, whether it happens on your defender, where you're forward, you tackle somebody the wrong way. It's very, very harmless. Well, they sent it up, in over the box. Goalkeeper calls it, but he freezes in the headlights, and they convert off of that. 5 minutes later, they come back down. We get called for a handball in the box. They convert. We're 2-2. So it is tricky when you have to address a team at halftime. But the thing is you always have to focus on the positive side of things. You start the game 0-0. Now we're going into halftime 2-2. Did we have a lead? Yeah, we had a lead. But the fact of the matter is you can't control the past. You can only control what's going to happen in the future, and that's really taking care of the present. So when you tell them, hey, look, yes, it's 2-2, it's the same thing as starting a game or starting overtime or anything like that. It's 2-2, it's 3-3, 4-4, 0-0, however you want to take a look at that. So it's just a matter of getting us back on that positive track. Yeah.
Well, the boys did get a positive track again. So Isaac Palmer scored a goal in the 50th minute with an assist from Duran Lee. Then the Blue Devils came back 10 minutes later and scored again. What would you say about the boys being in control and being in front and then making the easy mistakes costing the game?
The one thing that's been really, well, you're exactly right. The one thing that's really been missing this year is that pure finisher. It doesn't matter how many times that you go over a psych evaluation with a player, or how many times you visit them and you watch them play, or how much video that you analyze, or how many times that you bring them in on a campus visit and you talk with them and you get a letter of recommendation, or another letter of recommendation and a letter of reference from somebody else. It doesn't matter any of that. That's going to tell you all of the character side of things. However, that's not going to tell you that you have a really good forward that finishes everything on every game that you've gone to, every game that you watch, and then you bring them in the year, and we don't have that pure finisher because it's not happening. We don't have that pure goal scorer that's finding goals when we need to, that we can rely on, that's happening on a consistent basis. Do we have some really good players? Yeah. Mustafa's fantastic. Duran Lee is fantastic. Fernando, fantastic player. Mustafa Nadim, fantastic player. Isaac Palma, fantastic player. but we're not getting the consistency goal scoring from any of those players that we need to be getting to be successful. And that's going to wear on a team. So even when you don't have that pure finisher, the team doesn't seem, when there's a lack of confidence, not in their ability, but the lack of confidence to get a result, then that team lacks that killer instinct. So when you go up a goal, instead of being up 2 goals and saying, hey, look, we've just got 2 goals in the first 26 minutes, let's go bag 2 more before halftime. There's a little relaxation that says, okay, we can relax, we can let our guard down, we're doing the same amount of work that we have been doing, but instead of losing or instead of drawing, we're up 2 goals to nothing. And then you saw that at halftime, it kind of collapsed on us. We score, and then our guard goes down again. We don't have that killer instinct to go and say, hey, look, we're up a goal, let's go get 2 or 3 more and put us up 4 or 5. So that's lacked, and that'll have to be addressed in the off season. And sometimes it's just a matter of, that's what you get when you play with a bunch of freshmen. Sometimes you're stuck with that attribute that you can't change. You could brainwash them however you want. That's not going to mean that they're going to go out and execute goal scoring. That's just going to affect their attitude. But you can have a positive attitude and miss 4, 5, 6 chances in a row, and it's still not going to earn a result.
So the boys failed to get a goal to escape halftime, and then nearly lasting the whole 10 minutes until 46 seconds later, KCK got a goal off a corner kick. Do you think the boys had more chances to convert to win the game? Yeah,
and I'm sure you're going to get into this a little bit later with Garden City playing yesterday, but we play Cali, and we lose to Cali 1-0, and the coach comes up and says, look, your team is the best team that we've played by far. Allen comes up and they shock us, they beat us 1-0, and he's like, I have no idea how we even beat you guys. You guys have been absolutely fabulous. You're the best team that we've played. Garden City did the same thing. Johnson County did the same thing. Barton beat us 4-1, and the Barton coach says, look, you're the best team in our league. Pratt beats us 3-0 and says, you're the best team in our league. It's freak goals, it's the inconsistency, not having that pure finisher. Kansas City, we controlled the entire game. We make 3 mistakes, and they score 4 times. So it's been a bit of a struggle, and from the coaches on the way down, it's going to be a little bit of a confidence issue, because it's a little shot to the heart, because you always wonder, we're not getting results. What are we doing wrong? I don't think we are doing anything wrong. We're just not getting results. We're playing really well, and we're extremely dangerous. We're creating opportunities. We're just not converting them. And sometimes that's a lot of pressure to put teenagers under. But it is what it is. At the end of the day, the teams that convert those opportunities, the majority of them, they're the teams that win. So yeah, we were the better team. There is no excuse outside of failing to convert our opportunities on why we lost to Cali, why we lost to Allen, why we lost to Garden last night, why we lost to KCK, why we didn't beat Northern Oklahoma instead of drawing. Those are all reasons. I think the one team that you can let go is, Barton beat us by 3 goals. We probably deserve that loss. Maybe Pratt too, but those are freakish goals against Pratt. So you got 2 losses, 10 games, you're 8-2. You're probably looking at a 2 seed depending on what Cloud does in their final game against Johnson. So I mean, it is what it is. We just have to rebound and continue to press on.
Well, so the KCK game was a must-win to get into the playoffs, and so they obviously aren't in the playoffs anymore. What were your feelings for yourself and the boys coming off the pitch after the game?
It's disheartening, because you know how much effort that you put in a season and an off season to get the talent here, and then you handle the pressures of the academic side of things on a daily basis, and then going to practice and knowing that you're not getting results. How do you rebound and continue to stay positive? And that can be a very stressful environment. So you feel very disheartened, you feel very broken. But at the same time, it's how can you get over that so that you can start preparing then for Wednesday's game, which over the weekend there were some results that turned Wednesday into a must-win that we could get into the playoffs too. The guys' season, for anybody out there that watches and can score watch and say, well, look, your guys are 3-7 in the conference. Well, the team that went to the national tournament last year and only lost 3 players finished dead last in our conference. The team that won the conference last year are sitting in 10th place, and we're 9th. So, it's a little bit of a turnover. Barton, believe it or not, yes, they're good every year, but they were the 6th seed last year. They were in 6th place last year. Now they're fighting for that 2-3 seed. If we would have beaten Kansas City and won last night, we could have been the 4 seed.
Yeah.
But you lose Friday. Tuesday, Johnson gets a result, and you've been eliminated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's all very cynical in the end, because it becomes a little bit laughable, because there is so much parity throughout the league. Pratt's never finished higher than 5th place in the conference, and all of a sudden they're going to win it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of parity within the rules on how you can handle international kids, on the shortness of the season and how urgent it has to be. But then at the same time, you're playing 2, maybe sometimes 3 games a week. It's difficult, especially when you're dealing with teenagers, freshmen and sophomores, and then academic on top of that all, making sure that they stay onto it. So it becomes very, very stressful. And I think a lot of people underestimate the stress that's involved in not just the coaching side, but then as a student athlete, there's a lot of expectation. And I think our guys have handled that very well. The problem is I think we're so emotional on the men's side right now, is because we are working really hard. We're just not getting the results to reflect how hard or how talented we really are.
Yeah.
The other teams in the conference understand that. We understand that. It's just, it hasn't gone to what we've planned it over the summer in our recruiting process and coming into through fall camp and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a time we were 3-0, we were unbeaten at 3-0-1.
Yeah.
And the tie was against a nationally ranked NAIA school that didn't play their junior varsity team. So come a long way. It's just a matter of getting results, and we haven't done that. It is what it is.
So yesterday the boys and girls travelled to Garden City to play the Busters. Now people that aren't locals would say that they're your main rival. Why is there the relationship between that? It's
the proximity. Garden City and Dodge City are that 45-minute away school. They're closer than any other school. Not in the conference, because you have Johnson and KCK, you have Neosho, and Allen, and you have Coffeyville and Independence. But for Dodge City, Garden City is our rival, because we piggyback off each other so much. And if you can't attract them to your city, then they're going to go to the opposite city to do what your city should be doing. Yeah. So there's a big rivalry, whether it's sports, whether it's commerce, whether it's a lot of entertainment. We compete over a lot of things. Yeah. So they naturally are a rival, and a lot of it just has to do with proximity.
Yeah. So the boys lost 3-1 to Garden City yesterday. The Busters scored the first goal, getting it to 1-0, until freshman Bokar Carr scored a goal, making it 1-0. 1-0. Other freshmen such as Jamie Scott, Carmona and Bokar stood out. What would you say, like, the important players next season, for sure? Yeah,
Jamie Scott is going to be one of those primary players that we're going to look for a leadership role. He's a little bit older, but at the same time, he's very skillful, and he understands what's going on. I think it's finally clicked on some of the things that have been not mismanaged, that's the wrong word for it, but have occurred that maybe other guys in a leadership role could have stepped up, in addition to myself, my assistant, some of our captains, and other things, that maybe things would have played out a little bit differently. Maybe they don't, but maybe they do. We don't know. But he's one of those intelligent guys that catches on to certain things, tactically understands what's going on. Mustafa is another one. Bokar Ka can be one of those kids. Does he have the consistency to do that and to be one of those players? We're going to have to see. He's going to be one of those players that are probably going to be on trial for the spring, come back to earn a scholarship for next year. But he hasn't got a whole lot of playing time because he is so inconsistent with his ability. But guys like Ricardo Lloreda, he's another guy. But can he be vocal enough to be a captain and slide into that leadership role? I don't know. So those are some of the things that have happened. But again, same story. We played really well, but as our frustration grew, I mean, Garden City took a lead by scoring off a 30-yard shot that went through our goalkeeper's hands. Legitimately went through our goalkeeper's hands, bounced behind him. He took a step back, knocked it into the goal. that's the luck that we've had. But we come back, we do the dirty work, we get the tying goal, and then our frustration sets in with other circumstances.
Yeah, so the Busters managed to score 2 more goals in the second half, and from the stands, most people would say the boys got frustrated and started to lose the ball easily. What would you say about the second half hand performance?
Well, again, the emotional side of things, the frustration, that sets in when things don't go your way, but it sets up where it's deliberately set up to go against your way.
Yeah.
Not that it falls into that place, but it's almost where the guys think it's been deliberate, where no matter what they do, they're set up to failure. Not from a school standpoint, not from a coaching standpoint, not from a playing standpoint, but game condition standpoint, that they're set up to fail. It doesn't matter how hard they work, what system they play, how many goals they score. There's an outside circumstance that is going to tear them apart, and you saw it yesterday.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah. So the boys' conference season ended 3-7. Still have a non-conference game this Saturday against Oklahoma Wesleyan University. Knowing this won't affect your playoffs, how are you going to approach this game?
We're going to have a recovery day today. It's going to be a lighter day tomorrow since I travel with the women to Hutch. On the guys' side, you're going to see a lot of our workhorses that you've seen a lot of minutes from this year probably not get a whole lot of action. They won't start. It's going to be, the focus is going to be on the younger guys. Which guys can we take a chance on going forward? What guys have that technical ability and that the desire to say, hey, look, now I'm given an opportunity. Can I capitalize on that to show coach, hey, look, this is what I am as a player. This is what you're going to get from me going forward. And to evaluate those players. Maybe get some feedback on some of the players that aren't, but at the same time put them in a different role to let them sit back and watch and let things unravel and unfold. And then from there you evaluate how those younger kids did, how maybe some of the more inexperienced players have done, and then you evaluate your recruiting needs. Okay, based on this, I don't think we can bring this kid back. Based on this kid, we need this kid back, and then, okay, we need a center mid, we need a forward, we need a winger, we need a goalkeeper, and these are our requirements. We have to be faster, we have to do this, that, and the other. So it's going to be far more of an evaluation process on Saturday than anything. Are we going to play to win the game? Absolutely. We play to win every game. We coach to win every game. But this is a circumstance that we're in, that we're able to evaluate the younger talent that's inexperienced, that we haven't seen outside of training a whole lot, because you ride your better players. Every coach does it.
Yeah. All right, well, this is Ariana Dawson speaking with Coach Romanello today, coach of the women's, boys and girls soccer team. Now on to a more positive topic, the women's, your favourite and better looking team, I would say. First, I'll bring up on Thursday that KGCCC announced Dodge City's sophomore Christina Chinseri and Alicia Lucio were KGC Players of the Week for October the 12th and the 8th. So Christina scored a hat-trick against Northwest Kansas Tech and received an assist, while also being involved in an assist and a goal against the 2-win against KCK. So you've coached her for 2 years, this being her last year at Dodge City. What would you say she's brought to the team?
You know, she brings a whole different dynamic than what we've been able to have here at Dodge. We've had some really good players. Letty Ibarra, we had her back in 2011 and 12. Kayla Turner, we had her in 2013 and 14 and last year. The one difference that Christina brings to the table is she has been consistent her freshman year, and the difference, what sets her apart from both Letty and Kayla, Christina wasn't afraid not to meet expectations in her sophomore year. Letty scores 16 goals, has 1 assist her freshman year. And then goes down to 10 goals. But she was scared going into the year about not meeting those expectations on handling a lot of the goal scoring and the production on the team. Kayla sets a team record, has 1 assist, 23 goals in her freshman year, and comes back and has a very pedestrian year, scoring significantly less than that. She was a little bit worried and probably a little bit burnt out coming back that second year. Christina just got hungrier. And she's been absolutely brilliant than that. I think Christina's technical ability exceeds that of Letty and Kayla, but then she's mentally completely composed all the way around and understands exactly her role, how she fits in the team, and wants to make sure that the team is winning despite a lack of success or a multitude of success like she's had in the last several weeks with her team involvement and her scoring production. So that's been a significant difference, in my opinion, between Christina and maybe some of the more successful players in the past that Dodge City has had on the women's side. But you have to look. She's quick, she's pacey, she's very, very, very good on the ball, she's very agile, and she's not afraid. If she misses, she's going to go back again. If she gets frustrated, she comes off for about 5 minutes. I know where that borderline is. When we have a little conversation, she goes back in and she's completely motivated. I think what you saw from her the first time she won Player of the Week, I think it may have gotten to her head a little bit, and she kind of decreased her play, in the next game. She was named it this past week, but her level of play certainly didn't come off or lower against Garden City yesterday. She was on for the majority of the game, and now she's looking to continue that against Hutch, and I think she can be really dangerous against Hutchinson coming up in that matchup.
So Alicia, named goalkeeper of the week, continued her consistent play, allowing only 1 goal in 2 games. Picked up 4th shutout of the season. She's 4th in the KGC in minutes played, 6 in goals average, and 6 in save, which is 62. As being part of the back four, I know she saved us most of the time when we make a couple of mistakes. What would you say about Lucio's season?
Christina's been absolutely fantastic. Cynthia has probably been one of our most consistent players, Cynthia Rodella. But E has been our most consistent player. She has come up big when she needs to. And she is probably, in my opinion, our most improved player from last year to this year. Last year, and she'll admit to it, she was a little bit more of a head case. Mentally, she wasn't strong enough to be required on and relied on in big situations. And the frustration of letting in a lot of goals on a leaky defense last year was the main cause of that. She wasn't mentally strong. This year, she's embraced, even though she's not a captain, she's embraced a leadership role with our back four and on the team. She's very vocal, she's very engaged, she's far more focused on what she wants to accomplish and putting in a complete 90 minutes. So she has been absolutely brilliant and come up big for us. I mean, both girls, both Christina and Alicia, are both great girls off the field. And that translate on the field, or vice versa. They're both good players, and that translates off the field as well. And I don't think people realize that or give as much credit sometimes to a lot of the athletes that are not only good athletes, but they're really good in the classroom and they're really good kids. And sometimes when you're not at games, and aren't with these girls on a regular basis, and a lot of my guys, if you're not with them on a regular basis, then you don't see that side of them either. But that's the difference. They're good kids. They want what's best for their teammates. They want what's best for themselves, but not at their team's expense. And that's really why the girls have really been very, very successful. Every single one of the girls puts their team first and puts their teammates first above them. They're willing, if you ask Cynthia wants a goal, but if it means that we're going to win, Cynthia doesn't need to score. Beth is the same way. Jackie, as much as she loves to assist, if she says, hey, look, if I have no goals and no assists, but I can really be a threat and being able to distribute and being that playmaker, like you just said, she's okay with it. At the end of the game, when you look at stats, are they a little bit depressed? All those girls, no matter who you are, Do you get depressed because I didn't put you at striker? But you understand your role because you just want to win. And that's been the brilliance of all these girls. And Christina and Alicia, they're the bread and butter of that right now.
So the girls also played KCK on Friday night. They were currently in 4th seed, which in Australia you'd say 4th place or 4th seat, and looking to stay there. What did you tell the girls before the game that would help them win the game?
Against KCK, what we had to understand and what they had to do is for some of these players to buy into what's going on, they have to know that they're cared for and they're provided for. So every single game, I mean, you hear it all the time. I always tell you guys that I love you, I'm proud of you, this is what's at stake.
Yeah.
And if you want that, instead of just talking all the time and talking the talk, you have to go out and you have to really work hard and walk the walk.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's difficult, but your effort is going to reflect probably 90% of that result. So the effort's there, but then if you can execute, you're going to get that result, and that's exactly what we did. We worked incredibly hard last week against Northwest Tech and against Kansas City, and we got reflecting results. We executed far more against Northwest Kansas Tech than we did against KCK.
Yeah.
But KCK, they didn't have a chance to beat us, not by any means. We completely dominated that game from start to finish. And that's what it is. It's just simple instructions. Can you work hard? Can you execute? And we give you different tidbits on what to execute. And you guys know that you're provided for. You guys know that you have the support from your coaches. The rest is, what do you want? If you want to make it harder on yourself, then go out and do whatever you want.
Yeah.
If you want it to be a little bit easier and you want it to be fun, you want it to be a little bit more exciting, then you're going to listen to us, you're going to listen to each other, you're going to understand, like, look, I may not like to do this, but it's the dirty work. I got to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, you played through injury. There's a lot of girls that played through injury. A lot of time, Rachel, I think, played through injury at the beginning of the year. Beth played through it. Now we're healthy. We're starting to peak at the right time.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, and that's all it is. I think you guys, if you guys get the support that you need, you guys can accomplish anything. That's up to how you guys are, how consistent you're willing to execute, how many mistakes can you make minimal, and what your work rate's going to be.
Yeah, so the girls went into halftime 0-0. Eventually, second half, Cynthia Rodella helped out the Conq women in the past, who has helped out the Conq women in the past scoring. Managed to get a goal in the 58th minute. Christina Chinseri then scored 17 minutes later with an assist from Rachel Van Buskirk. Overall, DC3 girls shot out the 30-7, the Blue Devils. Mm-hmm. From that information and playing on the pitch, do you think the girls can make it easier for themselves if they learn to convert more? And
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, I would say that Allen, we didn't get a whole lot of chances and we won 1-0, and maybe we had no business beating them, but it is what it is. We got the 3 points. That's what it is. Barton, it was very open. Johnson County, when we played, yes, we lost 5-0, but if we convert chances, it's 3-1 in our favor at halftime.
Yeah.
You know, KCK, I would say that if we converted half of those chances, it's 9-0.
Yep.
It's not 2-0, it's not 3-0, it's not 4-0. We're talking 8 or 9. We're getting chances. We're a very good team. It's just converting at a higher rate. If you leak goals, or you're barely surviving and not giving up goals, and you're constantly relying on your goalkeeper or them to miss shots, you're going to give up goals and you're going to lose. If you're going to constantly get a bunch of shots off and not convert at least 1 or 2, it's going to catch up to you. Yeah. And you saw that against Coffeyville, where we had all those chances in the world but couldn't even get 1, and all we needed was 1.
Yeah.
But KCK, we were in no threat of giving up a goal.
Yeah.
Against Hutch, if we score 1 or 2, that's going to give us all the confidence. Now we may lose 3-2, but we lose 3-2.
Yeah.
We have that confidence then because we know that we're going to see them again. We have a home playoff game. The goal is to get to Topeka, and then once you're in that Final Four, anything can happen. So it's just a matter of getting into the playoffs, getting to Topeka, and then letting whatever happens.
Yeah. So in conclusion to the KCK game, would you say you were happy with the women's intensity on and off the ball?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The Northwest Tech and the Kansas City game were probably the best and most consistent that we've played, and the most dangerous that we've looked.
Yeah.
I mean, we beat Neosho 8-0.
Yeah.
You know, we had a lot of goals in a lot of games, but those two, from start to finish, from the way that we possessed the ball, from the way that we manhandled, you know, the wings and were able to play out wide and create chances, and the danger of those chances, we played really, really well. I was very, very, very pleased.
Yeah. So yesterday the women also travelled to Garden City. They were aiming for their 10th win overall in the season, which hasn't been done since 2007, and earn a home playoff game. What kind of pressure was put on you and the girls to get this done?
You know, Is there pressure? Yeah. But I think I put pressure on myself as a coach every day because I want to win every single game.
Yeah.
I want to be that undefeated team. I want to be that one loss, that 2 loss team.
Yeah.
So there is pressure every day. Do I coach with pressure? Do I put pressure on my teams? No. That's more pressure on myself. But at the same time, I always want things to be realistic. I don't want to have to sugarcoat things or have to lie to certain teams on, okay, if this happens, this is what's going to happen. You should always know what's going to happen. I know it's easier said than done. You have to go one game at a time. But at the same time, what are we playing for? You know, going into yesterday's game, we were either going to be on the road or we're going to be at home. Well, what do you want? You have to let the team know that, look, we are playing for a home playoff game. We have to win. Yeah. So there is going to be pressure there. Did that come out the way we started the game, specifically the second half? Yeah, we played really tense. But what's going to happen when we go into the playoff game? Are we not going to play tense because we don't know that it's a playoff game?
Yeah.
So if we're playing tight now in circumstances that we have to win, or if we lose, this is what we miss out on, we're already creating that playoff atmosphere.
Yeah.
And I try to look at that from a season-long perspective. We should be playing with pressure every single game. There is a standard, there is an expectation that has to be met, not only from me as a coach, but as a player, as a team, the responsibility that captains have. There should be an expectation, there should be that standard that has to be met. And when it's not, then that's when difficult things happen where you don't control your own fate. That's why Butler is so good, Hutchinson's so good, Johnson's so good on the women's side. It's those top 3 teams every single year. And they play with a standard, they play with an expectation, because are they at a little bit of an advantage recruiting-wise based on their location? Yeah, in Wichita and Kansas City, they have those metroplex. But at the same time, those players understand the realities of the pressure that they have to play with and what's at stake every single game versus, okay, maybe some of the teams that aren't always in that top 3 or top 4, we don't create that pressure until the end of the year when things become must win. We don't look at it as, sometimes I think we look at it just as a game, and that's where it goes wrong. You can't look at it as just a game. Every game should be treated as your final. You should have to be creating that pressure upon yourself because you have that expectation. You're holding yourself to a standard, and you're recreating everything and all those tensions and all those feelings that are going to happen next Saturday when we play, Barton or Garden in the playoffs when we host. So it's good for you guys. It's good experience. It's, we're going to play with pressure tomorrow because it's Hutch. The name on the front means something. It's Hutch, and we're a 3 seed is on the line. But worst case scenario, life will go on. We're still 4 seed. We're still hosting. It doesn't change any kind of route whatsoever to get to Topeka or the final. It's just a matter of, look, we're not playing on the road. There is not that to lose. But you want to play Garden or do you want to play Barton?
Yeah, Garden.
So
At home.
it is what it is.
Yeah. So Beth Ulrich, first on goal, set up by Rodella in the first half with a 1-0 lead into the break. Then then we went to the second half. Garden City scored a goal midway through second half. Was there any panic by you as a coach to see several mistakes being taken advantage by the other opposition?
It's not a sense of panic on the score because you know it's at stake. You want to win it. You want to not travel as much as you can. That being said, not panic, but there's a large concern defensively and organizationally that we have as a group that Garden City, for that span of 10 minutes, or 5 minutes I should say, to really start the game, or the second half, really exploited everything. And that game could have very well gotten out of control. And next thing you know, you're going into Hutch, must win, knowing that you have to win just to host. And it's simple things. It's getting beat at the center back position and not recovering, and we ball watch, not just from the center back position, but from all over the pitch. We sit there, we get beat, we do the simple things of letting the other team play within the half spaces and the spaces between our center backs and our full backs instead of playing them out. and that catches up to us, and it costs us a goal.
Yeah.
But the really nice thing is the girls played with a lot of resiliency. So no more than they scored, we got it together, we went back, and we completely controlled the rest of the game. Did they have a couple breakaway chances? Yeah, but they didn't even get shots off on those breakaway chances. So again, the resiliency from the women are there.
Yeah.
We went back, Cynthia picked up a goal, we ended up holding on to a 2-1 win, and no matter how you win, do you win, do you lose?
Yeah.
And we got the result we needed.
Yeah, well, like you just said, Cynthia Rodella scored a goal in the 65th minute. This is Rodella's 13th goal of the season, helping the Conqs win many games this year. What would you describe Rodella's season to go this year?
She's been brilliant. Like I said earlier, she's been one of our most consistent. If I had to name 2 players that are the most consistent on our team all year, it's Alicia and it's Cynthia.
Yeah.
She wants to defend. She wants to attack. She wants to provide the assist. She wants to score the goals. She's in the right place at the right time, and her motor, her work rate is fabulous.
Yeah.
I wish I had more girls like her. I wish I had more guys like her.
Yeah.
But she's mentally stable where she understands if she screws up, or if she was, I think she played a little bit jittery in the first half, where she was so psyched up and ready to go because it was Garden City. She knew what was at stake with the 10-win season, with hosting the playoff game. It's Garden City. So she played jittery, but she was still able in the second half to control all those emotions and convert when we needed her to convert and find those opportunities.
Yeah. So the Conq ladies are now 10-5 overall and 7-3 in conference. After winning yesterday's game, they earn themselves a playoff home spot on Saturday, next Saturday. Now the women are versing Hutch on Friday at Hutch, who are third in the conference ladder. What can you tell us about Hutch, and what will happen if the Conq take the win away?
If it's very, very, very straightforward. Barton still has 2 more games. Cali still has a game. They're going to figure out how it all unfolds in the playoff picture, but it's very, very straightforward. If we beat Hutch, we will be the 3 seed, and we will host Garden City, 2 o'clock, October 31st, for the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
If we lose, or if we draw versus Hutch, we will be the 4th seed, and we will host Barton October 31st on that Saturday, 2 o'clock, first round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
And the reason why we would be the 4 seed if we draw is because Hutchinson's goal differential is by far. We'd have to beat Hutch by like 15, 16, 17 goals, which isn't going to happen. You have to be realistic on that. So those are the scenarios. Hutchinson is pacey. Hutchinson is very well coached. Hutchinson has good players. Can they be beaten? Yes.
Yeah.
Will we beat them? I want to.
Yeah.
I think we can.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's going to be contingent on, can we eliminate our mistakes? How hard are we willing to work? Can we convert our chances? And are we fully recovered from a game that we just played yesterday? We're playing this game on short rest. So no matter how many ifs there are, those are all controllable within what we do.
Yeah.
Those are things that we can control, not things that we can't control. So, it's gonna be a fun game. We've played them close the last couple games, the last few seasons. I think the last time that we went down to Hutch, we ended up losing 2-1.
Yeah.
Very, very unexpected result. But I think we match up quite well with them on our attack, with Rachel and Jackie in the middle, with Christina and Cynthia and Beth out wide and up on top. I think we can create some problems for them.
Cool. So thank you for speaking with me today, Coach. Good luck in your upcoming games away. Be sure to keep yourself updated on the Conquistador Soccer Facebook page to see details for the first playoff game, which will be held on Halloween, the 31st of October at 2 p.m.
At 2 p.m.
2 p.m. either against Barton or Garden City. And that is all. Have a good day.